said we all have a story. And so growing up, I didn't have, I grew up with lack of options, lack of education, lack of mentorship, right? By the age I was 6, I was running around the house. I remember my grandmother's house because I didn't grow up with no father. Mom was really not at the household. And I remember running into certain rooms and just running into, certain situations with people using drugs, right? Education was not celebrated at home. By the time I hit my 9th grade, I made a choice, a decision, because I want you to understand every decision you have and make has an invoice. Do you understand what I'm saying about that? So every decision you have, there's an invoice. There's something you got to pay for. And so by me entering freshman year, I made a decision not to, to drop out because I let my situation define who I was. I let everything I was going through define who I was at that moment. And I was 14, 15. And I left. I remember leaving. I was in Connecticut at that time. I remember leaving my freshman, school, and that turned me into the streets. For 2 years, all I did was, involve myself with gangs, guns, drugs, all that good stuff. Because we all know, if you're not here, you where? You're in the streets, right? Yeah. If you're not about your business, somebody else is going to be controlling your business. And that ultimately led me to catching a case, which ultimately, at the age of 17, I was going to court for possession. The day of May 2nd of 94, I had to go to court with my mother because I was a minor. Even though I haven't been, following, any adult guidance till that day, right? I thought I was a man. I was 17, and society told me, no, you're still a minor. So I had to go in there with my mother. May 2nd of 94, we entered the building of the Bristol courthouse, which, mind you, the police department's in the 1st floor. The courthouse is in the 2nd floor. When we go there, I get to sit down and wait for the judge to talk to me. I get into an altercation inside of the courtroom because there was someone in there that knew me from the streets. And that verbal altercation turned into a physical altercation. Now, mind you, there was just me and my mother and 4 other guys that are fighting me. And ultimately, I'm saying to myself, I said, this is about to get real. And as they dragging me, my mother, and all 4 of the other individuals, you see at the bottom of the staircase, I told you the police department was there. If we would have taken a right, we would have gone into the police department. If we would have taken a left, we would have gone outside. For my surprising, they threw us all outside. Seconds right after that, I hear my mom saying there's a gun. I jumped in front of her. I got shot once, not twice. I tried to run into the building. I collapsed. I landed on my face. Gentleman ran up to me and shot me 4 more times on my back. And as I sat there and I was bleeding out, I could hear my mother, even though my mother and I didn't have the greatest relationship, we were more like brothers and sisters. She urinated on herself when her firstborn was gunned down at her feet. I can remember telling myself, I can't move my legs. God, I'm going to die. And so I want you to understand, for the grace of the universe, the ambulance was on site. They were having lunch in front of the courthouse, so they actually got to see what happened, and they were there to take care of me. You see, way before I got put in a physical chair, I had what we call the paralyzed mindset. My way of thinking and processing, and this is what I want to bring to you today, because I think that Berto, the MC, I think Jeff, I think Eric all talked about it, right? What it takes to be able to be successful. But I want you to understand that success is a mindset. And so when I meet people, they tell me, Jorge, I'm sorry. And I'm like, why are you sorry? Like, what happened? What you do? Well, I just took the wheelchair. Because you all see the obvious, right? I'm in a wheelchair. I've been in this chair for 27 years. And so now I literally put myself in a situation that I'm like, okay, there's nothing to be sorry about, because to be honest with you, even though you see me confined into this chair, I'm not contained in this chair. And I want you to understand that right now, this is the catalyst of what comes in front of you for the rest of your life. Moving forward, I ended up in Worcester. And as a youth mentorship, because I got gunned down at the age of 17, I'm 45 now. I entered the youth mentorship program back then, Berto, with the youth center. I mean, with Plumley Village, through 7 Hills, and it also saved my life. It gave me the first time to meet opportunity. It was the first time that I understood that success was a mindset. And I was literally in a position to start meeting people, interacting with people. literally started seeing other people with different color that were actually about me, that were actually would love on me. You see, society was always telling me, oh, white folks don't care about you. Certain people don't care about you. It's all foolishness. That's why here at 45, I treat people for what they are and who they are and how they carry themselves with character. So I only have a 2 or 3 minutes here, and I want you to understand this. When I tell you I've been confined to a chair for the last 27 years, I can't feel half of my body. I've been paralyzed, but I haven't been contained. Just last month, and it took me 9 years, and the youth mentorship program, I want to say 25 years ago, was the catalyst of me being able to walk on QCC graduation and receive my first associate's degree. I'm first-time generational graduate. I want you to understand, life is going to throw you with many things. Life is going to swing at you. But I think my brother said it. It can't be no more clear. Whatever you put in is what you get out of it. I could have sat here making excuses for my father not being in my life. I could have made excuses for my mother not being in my life. I could have made excuses for me ending up in a wheelchair. But I chose to be positive. I chose to give back energy. I chose to be there for others. I chose to operate off of intentionally, in credibility, like having integrity is huge. So one thing I want you to understand is this. As you leave here today, as you sucking up all this information, be intentional what it, and it's all right, Jorge, I don't know what that is for me. You don't have to know what tomorrow brings. All you have to know is what today brings. And today you made a choice. Today you're here. I'm super proud of you. If you haven't heard it, I love you. Bird will love you. Eric loves you. Jeff loves you. Like these folks in here, they all love you. From what I hear, nobody gets paid to come here. But we come here because they want to be here. You're the future. You're the future of Worcester. I got a 15-year-old young brother, young son at Worcester Tech. So when I look at you, I look at him. And the same thing I tell my son, I'm telling you. Don't play with it, right? Success is a mindset. It's all right to be in your emotions, but what is not right is to sit in it. One time. That was a little soft. One time. One time. One time. One time. Before I leave, I just want you to see what it looks like. After 27 years, they're telling me I would never walk. I can't feel half of my body. But I refuse to lose, as you see my shirt. And I want you to understand that that one time, every time you say one time, it's really saying you refuse to lose. This is what it looks like when you take no for an answer. This is what it looks like when you avoid and don't care about what the circumstances look like in front of you. Some of y'all going through some things right now. I get it. Some of y'all about to start going through some things right now. Some of y'all just coming out of some things. Let me tell you something, young brothers and sisters. It's called life. But when you take life and you fix the world to fit you, and you don't allow the world to make you fit them, this is what it looks like. And just like that, in fall, I'll go back to school, and I'm chasing my master's and PhD. To be continued. I love you. Let's get it. Enjoy your summer. This is what it is. Let's go.